Hi, I wanted to do a video discussing the original classical definition of liberalism. So um, I'm I wanted to go over a couple books uh, that I'm sick, so my voice is kind of weird. But in 1952, this set of books called the Great the Encyclopedia Britannica Great Books was published and put on mass market. And the this set of books is very special because it's based on a collaboration of of people who were like literary professors and experts, and they actually quite a few organizations and quite a few families got together and published and pooled the money to actually publish the books. And the first volume of the book, called The Great Conversation, has a list of all the names of people that all the names of the people and all the names of the organizations that were involved in that contributed to this set of books. So that it's a set of, I think, like 50 books, and that's 54 books. And so here's the list. The list is right here. So it's like Homer, Aeschylus, I don't know how to pronounce it. Aeschylus, Sophocles, Euripides, Aristophanes, Herodotus, Thucydides, Plato, Aristotle, Hippocrates, Galen, Euclid, Archimedes, Apollonius, Nicomachus, Lucretius, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, Virgil, Plutarch, Tacitus, Ptolemy, Copernicus, Kepler, Plotinus, Augustine, Thomas Aquinas, Dante, Chaucer, Machiavelli, Hobbes, Rabelais, Montaigne, Shakespeare, Gilbert, Galileo, Harvey, Cervantes, Francis Bacon, Descartes, Spinoza, Milton, Pascal, Newton, Huygens, I don't know how to, Huygens, Locke, Berkeley, Hume, Swift, Sterne, Fielding, Montesquieu, Rousseau, Adam Smith, Gibbon, Kant, American State Papers, The Federalist, J.S. Mill, Boswell, Lavoisier, Fourier, Faraday, Hegel. I can never pronounce Hegel's name right. Goethe, Melville, and I probably didn't pronounce I think Goethe, like Goethe. I think he wrote Faust. I think his name's pronounced Goethe. Darwin, Marx, Engels, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, William James, and Freud. So basically, the idea of this set of books was to identify a canon that makes up the Western literary and scientific foundation on which our knowledge base moves forward in time. And the set of this books is something that, to be truly educated in a historical version of liberal education, you would need to be familiar with all of those authors, or at least most of them, and you would have in your mind an idea of what the great conversation is, which is the fact that each of these people contributed to this body of knowledge that we have, and it's based on Western knowledge, and each of these authors contributed to this body of knowledge and to this great conversation. And it's, things can be added to it, but it's very rare to have someone publish something that actually compares to any of the works that these people have done. Now listen, there's a lot of Eastern and Middle Eastern works, and Slavic, a lot of other regional bodies of knowledge that are not included in here. And that if it truly was the great conversation, then things like Sun Tzu's Art of War, The Tale of Jin, things like that would be in here, but it's not, because the idea of this was really just to focus on Western products that were produced, Western literary and intellectual products that were produced. So, in a lot of libraries, a lot of universities contributed to this set of to publishing this set of books. But I think what I just wanted to just make the point that classical liberalism is a different definition compared to the term liberal today. The term liberal today is really more of a meme. And I'm just going to read like the first page or so of this book, because I think it's really interesting and historically inspirational. Until lately, the West has regarded it as self-evident that the road to education lay through great books. No man was educated unless he was acquainted with the masterpieces of his tradition. There never was very much doubt in anyone's mind about which the masterpieces were. They were the books that had endured and that the common voice of mankind called the finest creations in writing of the Western mind. In the course of history, from epoch to epoch, new books have been written that have won their place in the list. Books once thought entitled to belong to it have been superseded, and this process of change will continue as long as men can think and write. It is the task of every generation to reassess the tradition in which it lives, to discard what it cannot use, and to bring into context with the distant and intermediate past the most recent contributions to the great conversation. This set of books is the result of an attempt to reappraise and re-embody the tradition of the West for our generation. The editors do not believe that any of the social and political changes that have taken place in the last 50 years, or any that now seem imminent, have invalidated or can invalidate the tradition or make it irrelevant for modern men. On the contrary, they are convinced that the West needs to recapture and re-emphasize and bring to bear upon its present problems the wisdom that lies in the works of its greatest thinkers and in the discussion that they have carried on. So, and the actually the whole first volume is describing why they included the things that are in this set of books, and the points about different authors and the selection process. It's really interesting. And this book was published in 1952, so it was basically an attempt to preserve an understanding of classical liberalism, and also it was an attempt to make these great works available to the masses. And the people and the universities and the libraries that contributed to the publishing of this also believed that these works should live and survive. And also, I think that this is really interesting. It's basically a codex. The book 2 and 3 are called Syntopicon, and it's a huge index, and it's got information on the authors included, and then references to different ideas that have spun off from the different works, and then also, for instance, like this is an index on Freud, and one of his works, Origin and Development of Psychoanalysis, which book it's in, and then here's one, The Role of the State in Moral Education, Law, Custom, Public Opinion, and then all of the works in the great books that have something that pertains to the role of the state in moral education, law, custom, and public opinion. And this starts as early as Aristophanes, Herodotus, Thucydides, Plato, all these Aristotle, all these Virgil, Plutarch, all these people wrote about the role of the state in moral education, law, and public opinion. So this information and ideas were put down and written before the internet and before instant communication. So I think that it has so much value to learn these things, because the people that wrote these things, they didn't have Google. They really had to do a lot of footwork and a lot of creation of thought to put these things on paper, and the inspirations that they had were so in some ways divine. So anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about, is that this set of books and the great conversation, and then this giant index of the great ideas that are touched on in the set of books. And the set of books is called the Encyclopedia of Britannica, the Great Books. You can get, they're on Kindle, Audible, you can get used books at thriftbooks.com, stuff like that. But anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about, is the original definition of classical liberalism. Thank you.